Hi guys, welcome back to Yogalates with SJ and to this Tone It Up Yogalates workout. This is a full body workout that you can do absolutely anywhere, and all you need is some kind of ball. So that might be a regular football, it might be a medicine ball, or it might be a Pilates ball. So we're just starting here in a kneeling and taking a few moments. If you haven't already grabbed your ball, you might just pause the video, take a few moments here to get all set up. And then we're going to start by sitting up on your ball, bringing the soles of the feet onto the mat. And then you are starting to sit up really tall, lengthening up out of the pelvic floor all the way up out the top of the head and finding a neutral pelvis. So just starting to roll the shoulders away from the ears, and you might just make a little bit of an adjustment here to find that neutral, and then engaging into the core, and you're starting to rock back and forward. So we're just starting to press with the feet to press back and keeping that neutral pelvis as you move forward. Nice. And then you're just bringing your hands beside your hips, fingertips pointing forward, and we are starting to lift one knee up and then the other. So as you continue with this, you're slightly hinging back, but you're keeping length through the spine. So you are finding that long line all the way from the top of the head down out the base of the spine, and you are drawing one knee up and lower it back down and then the other. As you do this, you are using your core muscles to draw the knee in, seeing if you can stay really still on your ball here, so not letting the pelvis rock around. You're still lengthening that tailbone down, so you aren't tucking the tailbone and you aren't pressing the tailbone back, and the shoulders are away from the ears, and you are softening into the elbows. And nice. Let's just bring the left knee up, and we're starting to circle that knee, tiny circles in one direction. So it's a very small circle, and you've got the hips slightly open through that left side, and you are just relaxing through the foot. So very small circles, keeping your core engaged here, and then we are reversing, going back the other way. As you continue with this, I really want you to imagine you are lengthening out from the core all the way out the toes, and you've got the foot slightly out to the sides, the toes are turned out, and the heel is slightly turned in, so you've got that little openness through that left side hip. Nice. Let's switch it over. So bringing the foot down, and you are bringing the right knee up, and you are keeping your core engaged and circling in one direction. Tiny circles here. Just make sure that you're breathing, guys, so don't hold your breath, and making sure that you've still got that neutral pelvis, so you're not tucking the tailbone under, and you are finding that nice long line all the way up out the top of the head. Nice. Let's go back in the other direction when you're ready. Tiny circles. Breathing in and breathing out. We are getting into every single muscle today. We're lengthening, we're strengthening, we are toning, we are increasing mobility as well as flexibility. Nice. Coming all the way back through center, and you're starting to flex the toes back towards the face, finding softness into the knees, bringing the hands to be with the fingertips facing forward. If you want to here, and you want to make this more challenging, you can actually lengthen the legs all the way out, or you can just press the heels down into the mat as you lift the pelvis up and then lower the pelvis back down. So it's a very small little lift up off of your ball, keeping that long line out the tailbone down towards the mat, and lifting the pelvis up and bringing the pelvis back down. Just not locking out through those elbow joints. So making sure that you've got softness into the elbows, you're even through both hands with your weight, and you've got some space between the chin and the chest. You're lengthening out through the back of the neck, lifting up, lowering down, keeping that neutral pelvis as you do this. So you are really pressing the heels into the mat here to lift you up and lower back down with that neutral pelvis. Nice. Staying here, guys. You're starting to sit up a little bit, and then you are bending through the elbows as you start to come back down onto the palms and then lifting up onto the fingertips as you lengthen up, sitting up really tall, shoulders away from the ears, and then you are starting to press the shoulders back down and elbows go straight back, keeping your core engaged, so not popping the ribs out here and not pressing the belly button out, so you're keeping your belly button to spine the whole time, coming up high onto the fingertips as you lengthen up, sitting up tall, and then you are starting to come back, bending through those elbows, shoulders away from the ears. Nice, keeping that neutral pelvis the whole time. And also making sure you're not locking out through those knee joints either. So you can even place something underneath the knees if you're finding that that doesn't feel entirely comfortable to have your legs straight here. Nice. Starting to flex the toes back towards your face, coming all the way up. Inhale as you lengthen the arms up. Exhale as you start to hinge forward at the hips, bringing the head down towards the knees. Hands can come to anywhere that they want to, and maybe that's to either side of the legs, maybe that is to grab hold of the feet, and starting to take some deep breaths here. Inhale and exhale. When you're ready, coming all the way back up, we're starting to bring the fingertips to face forward, and you are lifting the right knee up and then crossing the foot across to the left side and then drawing the knee back in towards the heart. Keeping this going, so it's a little cross across, and you are lifting up, using those core muscles to draw the knee up and finding length from the hip all the way out the toes as you start to straighten the leg out. Beautiful work. So you've got your toes slightly turned out, heels slightly turned in, so you've got that little bit of a rotation out of the hip here on that right side, and you are making sure you're breathing. Nice. And bringing it up and lengthening it out. Beautiful. Let's come straight over to the other side. So just taking a moment here to readjust and finding that core engagement, finding that length all the way from the base of the spine all the way out the top of the head. Let's start to bring the left knee in and cross the foot across and draw the knee in, lengthening out. So you've got that slight little turn out of the knee, and you've got the toes slightly turned out, heels slightly turned in as you start to draw in and lengthen back out. Beautiful. Making sure that you're relaxing through the jaw, relaxing through the throat, and keeping your core engaged. Inhale and exhale. Nice, coming all the way back through center, and then you are sitting up nice and tall here. And we're just starting to rock the pelvis over to one side and then the other, and you might just start to bring the fingertips to your sides as you do this, just making sure that you've got your core engaged and you're sitting up really tall as you move from side to side, finding a little bit more of a stretch through the side waist each time. This should feel really, really nice, and finding that really nice balance through that center line. So even though you are coming over to one side and then the other, you are still keeping your weight very even through the center by keeping your core engaged. Beautiful work. And bringing the shoulders away from your ears, and then we are bringing the arms out, so bringing the fingertips out to the sides. You can bring your ball into the low back, and you are just starting to bring the soles of the feet onto your mat, and you are keeping the legs together, knees together, and you can support yourself here on the fingertips or on the palms, but we're just keeping the core engaged, finding that length here, and you're just starting to draw the knee in and then lengthen the leg out, lower down, and then lift back up. So we're just keeping this going. It's just a lowering down and then lifting back up. Your toes are slightly turned out and your heel is slightly turned in, and just keeping that length here out from the hip all the way out the toes, and you are not letting go of that core engagement, making sure that you are keeping that belly button to spine, and you're using your core to do this as well as the hip, Beautiful. Coming back through center, and let's come straight over to the other side. So you're lengthening the left leg long. Toes are slightly turned out, heels slightly turned in, and you are lowering down and lifting back up, using your core to lift the leg, making sure you're not tucking the tailbone under and you are not pressing the tailbone back. You've got that nice long line all the way from the base of the spine out the top of the head. Shoulders away from the ears and lower down, lift back up. Inhale and exhale. Nice work. And releasing, bringing the foot back down and reaching the arms forward, and then you are bringing the hands next to the hips or slightly back behind you. Fingertips are pointing forward, and then you're lowering down onto your forearms. Starting to bring the right knee in and then straightening the leg, lowering the leg down and then drawing the knee back in as you bend through that knee, lengthening the leg back up, toes point towards the ceiling, and then keeping that length as you start to drop the leg down. So it's kind of a leg lower. And we are continuing with this. So drawing in, using your core muscles, finding that length all the way out the hips, out the toes, and finding even more of a stretch each time and coming back down. Beautiful. Let's come straight over to the left side. So drawing the knee in, using your core muscles, and then straightening the leg out as you point the toes towards the ceiling and leg lower it down, drawing the knee in and lengthening the leg out. Nice work. Make sure that you have got length out the neck here, so the head is in the same line as the rest of the back, so you've got a bit of space between the chin and the chest. Nice. And take a break here, you guys, just bringing the top of the head towards the mat, opening up through the throat, allowing everything to soften here, opening up across the heart center and relaxing. Deep breath in, full breath out. Nice. Coming all the way up when you're ready, and we are starting to press into the palms to come all the way up, and then taking hold of your ball, just bringing the ball to be around about mid back, so just at the top end being in between the shoulder blades or slightly below the shoulder blades. And then you're starting to just bring the soles of the feet onto the mat, and then just allowing the whole body to relax over the ball, bringing the arms out a little bit wider, maybe flipping the palms to the sky, finding that really nice open heart here. Feeling the shoulder blades wrapping around the outside of your ball, and you might just let the knees fall inward. So maybe heel toe the feet out a little bit and just let the knees fall in toward each other, or you might do something else with the legs. And then just taking a moment here to lower your ball down, so bringing it to the base of the spine. So it's kind of at that flat bony part at the top of the tailbone and at the very base of the spine, the sacrum. And then you're just starting to float the legs up. So finding a waterfall pose here, just starting to let the legs float in the air as you start to bring the arms out, flipping the palms to the sky. And this should feel really nice, just relaxing here, relaxing the tummy, the jaw. Nice. And then just bringing the legs out into a split position, and then bending through the knees, heels come to the pelvis, straightening the legs back out into that split, and then drawing the legs back together, keeping this going. So you're using your inner thigh strength to draw the knees in, or the legs in together, and then you are using the resistance through the ear to kind of open out, really squeezing as you press out the outer hips to open the legs out. And then you are bending through the knees, and then you are lengthening the legs back out. So just moving at your own range and at your own pace here, finding a little bit more of a lengthening out feeling, sensation as you start to move through here, opening the hips out, as well as just kind of finding that strength. So really imagining that you are resisting against the ear here. Nice. If you've got ankle weights on, you will also be feeling a little bit more with this. You can actually do this whole workout with ankle, hand, wrist weights if you want to as well. for an added amount of resistance. Good job. Let's reverse it, and we're going back the other way when you're ready. So you're just starting to draw in and then starting to let the heels come towards the pelvis, lengthening back up and opening out and drawing in. Seeing if you can relax your tummy muscles, so not holding or gripping in the belly. And then coming all the way back through center and keeping the legs glued together, heels together, toes slightly turned out. And you can bring the fingertips to face down, so you can find a little bit of support here through the hands. And we're just starting to make a very small circle in one direction. So just making very, very small circles in that one direction, and trying to stay really balanced through the pelvis. So you're lengthening the tailbone towards the end of your mat. So you are not lifting the tailbone up. You're not really lifting the pelvis up. You've got a heaviness there, and you are circling back in the opposite direction, going back the other way. Seeing if you can really stay still through the rest of the body. Your gaze is straight up. You've got length through the back of the neck. The back of those shoulders are pressing into the earth, and you are using your core to make these circles. Nice. And then coming back through center, and then we are going to stay here. And we're going to start to do some leg lowers. So lowering the right leg down and then the left, and coming back up through center and switching it to the other side. So you are just switching from one leg lowering down as the other leg just continues to point upwards. So the toes are pointing directly up towards the ceiling. You can have the toes slightly turned out here if you want to. And you are using your core muscles. You are keeping that tailbone lengthened out so you can really feel that grounding down of the pelvis. And you are keeping a beautiful long line, a long leg here. So really pointing out those toes. If you need to, of course, you can bend through the knees if it's a little bit too challenging to have the legs fully extended here. And make sure you're breathing in, breathing out, and then starting to bend through those knees. Any movement here into the feet that feels good. Maybe a little rock from side to side. You might just take a moment here to take some really deep breaths in through the nose and exhale it out the nose. Then just starting to let the feet shift forward as you straighten out through the arms. You're holding on to the front side of those knees, and then you are starting to draw the knees in towards the heart center. And then you are straightening the arms again as you let the feet shift forward to the end of your mat, and then drawing the knees back in, and then lengthening the tailbone down towards the end of your mat as the arms go straight, keeping that length out the tailbone as you draw the knees in towards the heart center. So it's like you are kind of making this oppositional pull here. So as you bring the knees in, you are keeping the tailbone lengthened out, and then we are coming back through center, just starting to circle the knees in one direction a few times, then the other. And then you're starting to lengthen the left leg up, and then the right, pressing the heel up towards the ceiling. And then you are starting to flex the toes back towards the face, and you are starting to bring the left leg up and just pressing the tailbone down towards the end of the mat. And you are bending through the left knee as you start to press that right heel up towards the ceiling. So you are keeping both feet flexed, and you are bending through one knee and bringing the back of that heel towards the pelvis as you start to straighten out through the other leg, pressing the heel up towards the ceiling. So again, we are really keeping a very heavy pelvis here. We are keeping that tailbone lengthening out towards the end of the mat as you draw the knee in towards the heart. So it's like that really nice oppositional pull. This should feel really, really nice through the back of the hamstrings, the back of the calves, the back of the legs, and also giving the belly a little bit of a massage as well. Really good for the gut. Nice. And then coming all the way back through center when you're ready. Just starting to bring the soles of the feet back down onto your mat. And just taking a moment here, you might bring your hands onto the outside of or the front side of those hips and relaxing down. Just taking as long as you like here to completely relax down, and then taking a deep breath in as you reach the arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, just starting to take a moment here to come all the way up to seated. It was awesome to have you join me today for this 20-minute Yogalates class. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you did enjoy it, I would love to hear about it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for more free home workouts, yoga, Pilates, and all of the good things. See you again soon.